Today we're talking about the big guns, moving from a little Speedlight to a large studio strobe. There are some advantages and disadvantages to moving to studio strobes, also called monolights, from the Speedlights. And today we want to kind of talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages of making that switch if you've ever contemplated it. So what are some of the things you like about working with Speedlights, Dustin?
What I really like is that it's compact, it's light. I can take more than one in my bag, and they're flexible enough and can work with them pretty easily on location.
Yeah, you just did a shoot yesterday, a car photography shoot. Can we show them a little photo?
Yeah.
Pew, through the magic of technology, there it is. You're looking at a photo that Dustin took yesterday, and he used, how many Speedlights you used on that shoot?
We had 4 Speedlights on the shoot, and all of them were working pretty hard. And
so that's the real advantages of Speedlights, is you can just chuck a few extra ones in your bag. And these that we use are 80 bucks, so you can afford quite a few. And it's just so easy to take them around. If the need arises, you pop a flash here or there, and it's really nice. They're cheap, they're portable. The disadvantages, however, they're running on AA batteries, so they're not terribly fast. I mean, you run a flash like this, we'll turn it on, and I'm just going to go to minimum power, 1/28, 1/128, and I mean, it does fare, but the recycle time, pop, waiting, pop, 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 and eventually, but there's on full power, now we're waiting. Now we can go again. Waiting. The recycle time on those flashes is just longer, and you can't get a ton of power out of them. Now, if you move to a studio strobe, like what we use in our studio is these Einstein 640s, and you can see our exact recommendations of which studio strobes we like at improvedphotography.com/flashgear. And these, I'm on 3/4 power here, and you just, oops, I pressed the power button. I'm on 3/4 power, and you can just pop the flash, and it's like it never ends. You just never ever have to wait when you're working with a studio strobe. They work very fast, and you can put out so much more light than you can with the Speedlight. But there are also some big disadvantages to working with studio strobes. I guess there is one more advantage, is the modeling light. You'll see the light that's on right now. What it's used for, and you can turn it up a little bit brighter than this, is you put it into your softbox or umbrella, whatever, and it's just putting out just a little light so that you sit the model up there and you can kind of see what the light's going to look like. And then when you fully pop the flash, it's just brighter, but the same kind of light quality as what you saw through the modeling lamp. So that's a nice advantage to have. It doesn't work so great in our studio because we have lots of huge windows. That whole wall is windows. So you just can't see the modeling lamp. But if you work in a darker studio or a darker environment, it works great. These are expensive though. They're about $500 just for the monolight, not even for some of the other accessories. Other brands are much more expensive. We've found that this brand does really well for us. And the other disadvantage is, they're just heavy. You can hear the fan. They have to have a fan going on because it produces a lot of heat, and they're not nearly as portable because you have to run it off a battery pack. This battery pack costs about $250, so if I want to go out and do a shoot like Dustin did yesterday on location, I need a place to plug this into the wall, and if there's not a place to plug it into the wall, you have to have a battery pack for the flashes to power them. And the battery packs are expensive. They're also really useful though. Like every time I take my kids on vacation in the back seat and the iPad runs out of power, or they want to watch a little TV, you just plug it in, a normal plug. It's like the most useful little box you've ever seen. What do you think? When would you use a studio strobe compared to a Speedlight?
If I was doing a shoot that required a lot of light, like middle of the day, when we did that trail run, we're trying to overpower the sun, that's when a studio strobe would have been real handy that day, just to get enough light on what we're doing.
That's true. That would have been a nice time to have it for sure. So if you're going to shoot a wedding, what do you take? I mean, you could take the monolight with a battery pack or Speedlights. Wedding photographers do both. What's your preference?
I think I'd probably go with the Speedlight for right now, just for the mobility and just with a lot of people around. I just want to keep the gear minimal. So.
Yeah, I shot a wedding 2 weeks ago with studio gear, and it was nice because I had someone with me to move the lights around and hold all the gear. So that was great because then when it was bright outside, I could easily overpower the sun because I had so much light from these guys. But if I were on my own, I didn't have an assistant to work with me, or you just want that extra mobility, I'd take the Speedlights. I've shot lots of weddings with just Speedlights, and it always works great. Just make sure you have a lot of extra batteries for a wedding because you're going to go through them.
Yeah, that is another downside. You always have to have double A's or something to go with your Speedlights. Not just one, but 4 for every light that you've got.
And if you're ready to move up in your lighting kit, if you have a couple Speedlights and you're ready to try studio strobes, what I might recommend is that you just buy one studio strobe to begin with, and a lot of times that might do it because they can work together perfectly well. You can run one studio strobe as your key light if you need a whole lot of light, and then just throw Speedlights off to the sides for hair lights or whatever, and that's going to work just fine. They'll work together easily if you have a trigger system that will trigger them both, or you could set the Speedlights to slave mode, meaning that when the monolight pops, when it sees the increase of light, it'll make the Speedlight go off immediately too, so you don't even need an extra trigger for it. So, I mean, there are a lot of things you can do. If you're interested in moving up to a studio strobe, again, check out our recommendations at improvephotography.com/flashgear. I think it'll save you a whole lot of money if you look through there. And that's studio strobes in a nutshell.
There you go. So hopefully now you know a little better of when you want a Speedlight or a studio strobe, or maybe just even to upgrade your gear.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.